everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. So I guess y'all have heard that Sheree Whitfield has been fired from Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't know y'all, but I saw this coming when she aligned herself with Kim. Let me just backtrack a little bit. You know, Sheree was fired before and she came back and looks like she's been fired again. Now, I'm suspecting that the reason why Sheree was fired is because of her bone carrying and because her prison bae is not getting out until 2020. Also, I think a major issue was all of the other ladies didn't like Kim, and Sheree aligned herself with Kim and was actually defending Kim in some instances against the other women. So I guess, Bravo, when they reviewed the past season, season 10, and decided who they would extend a contract to for season 11, they decided that Sheree was not going to be one of those housewives to get, their contract renewed. Y'all, I have been watching this show since the beginning. And this show has evolved into something that I guess I never saw coming. When I look at all of the women on the show and the amount of bitchiness towards each other, it's amazing to me that we find this entertaining. And I don't know if it's because this is, a reality show and we watch for entertainment purposes only, but in our real lives, we wouldn't put up with this. What I mean by that is that in this show, basically we watch women get together, have a few drinks, and then proceed to talk about each other one by one. There are alliances. You have Nene and Cynthia and I guess everyone else. Y'all, for some reason, I just know that in real life, it's not like that. Now, you have friends that don't get along. And if it gets to the point where, in a group of friends, it's so bad that every time they get together, they are cussing each other out, calling each other names, speaking badly about each other. Eventually, you stop being friends with them. You figure, if I'm going to spend my time with a group of women, I do not want to be arguing all the time. I do not want to be fighting all the time. Or in some cases, I do not want to be defending myself all the time. But for some reason, we find this entertaining. Last season, I stopped watching for a while. I was, letting it be recorded, DVRing the show, and then I would let a few shows pile up, a few episodes, and then I would go back and binge watch them. Because at some point, this is exhausting, At some point, this is not reality. And I am a woman of a certain age, like these women on this show. And I know that in real life, you wouldn't put up with all of this, y'all. You wouldn't be around a group of women who literally suck the life out of you. We have seen housewives come and go on this show. And the whole reason why a lot of them go is that, for one thing, they don't have what Bravo considers a storyline, or they've said or done something that, for Bravo is the breaking point and they have to go. I feel like at different times, all of them have said or done something that is a little bit questionable when it comes to the girlfriend code. Now, I know this season, Sheree had a target on her head. Because she was carrying those bones and because she was friends with Kim, I knew that she probably wouldn't be coming back. So she's gone now. And that leaves Portia, Nene, Cynthia, Candy, and Kenya. Y'all, when you think about it, and I'm going to just start talking about each lady and their storyline. And I'm going to start with Kenya since I ended with Kenya. Kenya will always be safe because Kenya makes for good TV. Now, there is a rumor that Kenya is pregnant and that her husband has now agreed to, I guess, be filmed. Because remember, he did not want to be a part of the show. But I guess, it put Kenya's peach in jeopardy. And now that maybe she's pregnant, he's decided, well, okay, I'm going to go on and, be a part of the show. So that gives Kenya a solid storyline. And after everything that we've watched Kenya go through, now this is on a personal note. I'm sorry, on a serious note with Kenya. I am happy that Kenya is pregnant. I'm also happy that she's found someone that she seems to care about. Because we know from past seasons, this is what Kenya has wanted, a family and a husband of her own. I hope for Kenya's sake that this guy pans out. Right now, for me, he's a little questionable. I need to see it play out, see who he is on camera, because we only hear about him. And like I said, if she's pregnant, I hope that this guy pans out to be what she wants him to be. So again, Kenya has a solid storyline, and I would like to see her pregnant and, with her husband interacting with her in a normal, healthy, everyday relationship. Then there's Candy. Last season, it was the whole thing with Portia and Phaedra and all that shit, y'all. Phaedra was fired, because all of the lying and the going behind Candy's back and saying that, Candy had said that I guess she would rape Portia or was thinking about raping Portia. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, I watched the shows, binge watching them, and a lot of times I fast forwarded past certain parts because, y'all, most of these women are in their 40s, mid 40s, and the shit is silly because when you get a certain age, you don't fucking act like this. Now, I know, and let me just say this, that's the majority of women over 40, mid 40s, late 40s. They don't act like this normally. Now, I said the majority. You do have women that have reached that age that are what I consider still silly, because some of the things that they get into arguments over or they have disagreements over, once you get to a certain age, you are at a point where you're like, I'm not even gonna get that shit any weight. It's not even worthy of me damn near having a heart attack arguing over silly shit. So that's my only issue with it. It's like this is not reality for the age bracket that they're in. Let's face it, Nene is a grandmother, y'all. She's a grandma. I mean, like I said, you still have messy women from, 30s, 40s, all the way up until the grave, but it's not the majority of us. And at some point, you start to say, like I said, are we watching this for entertainment, or do we actually condone some of the behaviors that we see on here? Let me just keep going. So they fired Phaedra last season. She didn't come back. She had a X on her head when she went to the reunion show. Then you got Cynthia. My question to y'all is, what is Cynthia's storyline? Okay, she got this new younger guy he's a little questionable. She likes him, she was married to Peter. Eventually, things weren't working out, and eventually they got a divorce. So now she has this young guy. I don't know exactly what Kenya's storyline is. I guess she plays a supportive role. If you're thinking of a cast, she's neither fiery or, I guess, completely boring, because now she does have a boyfriend and she does have her daughter. For me, she really doesn't bring much to the show other than being a friend. And I don't mean it in a way that I want Cynthia to come on, snapping her neck and getting bitches together and all of that. But she plays the role of just a supportive person. She doesn't really have a storyline. Cynthia pretty much is friends or friendly with everyone, you know? She's that friend in the group that, you know, well, I can't say doesn't take sides, because she does, but just there as one of the girls. Then there's Nene. Now, y'all, honestly, I don't see where Nene has a storyline. Okay, she can't talk about her son Brent because he stays in and out of trouble. What's the oldest son's name? I can't think of his name, the one that made her a grandma. And then her youngest son, it seems to be quiet, and he's in school, and you really don't want to put the focus on these kids because these kids are going to school every day, and you don't want them really to be a part of the show, because if things go left, then they have to go to school and go through kids ridiculing them, and for stuff that happened on the show that they're on. So I'm glad that Nene is kind of keeping her son with the cameras off of him. But I really don't see where Nene actually has a storyline. Her role there is arguer in chief to me. Nene, to me, I know that a lot of people like her, and I don't dislike her, but Nene is very, very messy to be her age. She lets silly shit bother her. When I'm around women that are younger than me, and they may say something that maybe 15, 20 years ago, I would have popped off at, or, I smile and I keep it pushing. I don't engage in a back and forth of an argument. I've been there, done that. And I know that, it's petty, so I don't do it anymore. I can sit back and say, you know what, this is their time. If this is what they're doing, I'm not going to be a part of it. Nene gets right down into the gutter with the rest of them. And like I said, she's a grandmother. I hope when I become a grandmother, I'm not arguing about somebody didn't support me and you wasn't my friend and this and that. This shit is silly, y'all. It's silly when you get a certain age. And that's my problem with Nene. Nene could have taken a different route in all of this. Because Nene was able to expand her horizon using this show, and she's gone many places, with Bravo being a springboard to get her there. She's been on a television show, she's done Broadway, and she's now friends with a lot of celebrities. If I would have been Nene, I would have come back. You know how a lot of people say Nene thinks too highly of herself? It wouldn't have been that I would have come back, thinking I was all that with my head swollen and all of that. But I would have come back with a different attitude about the show. And I would have not gotten down in the gutter and allowed these women to pull me back into silly arguments and all of that stuff. Nene could have taken this show, turned it around. From what a lot of people are starting to say that is going on with the show. Women just getting together to argue, bash, and beat on each other. Nene could have brought a sense of fun and doing things and around the community and in Atlanta, and told these women, y'all, we got a big platform here. Let's change the way the show is. There's always going to be a little bit of bitchiness when you get a group of women together, and that's to be expected. But the bitchiness all the time, though, they only get together to argue and talk about each other. But Nene being one of the older ones in the group, and having gone places, could have come back and set the tone for it. Saying, y'all, let's not let them turn us to the stereotypical black women. I guess that's what I'm saying. I just expect more of Nene and, y'all, really Cynthia, because they are older. Remember, Cynthia celebrated turning 50, y'all. Because remember, she celebrated several times. Remember, she had a whole bunch of birthdays. I just expect more of them. Like I said, when I'm around women that are younger than me, first of all, I don't ridicule them for being, keeping a lot of drama and mess going on. Because when I was younger, I did it too. I hadn't matured, and, things that other women would say, I would get them all the way together. But what has happened is that I'm older and certain things don't even bother me. The reason why is because I'm secure in who I am now. I've accepted my pluses, and I've learned to live with my minuses. So I don't let certain stuff bother me. And also, I'm at an age where if one of my friends is going through something really good, I can support them. I don't see their successes as a threat to me. I'm a real girlfriend. If I see something going great in your life, I support you without the shade. If I see you going through something bad, be it with your child, your man, your whatever, I am a truly supportive friend without smiling in your face, when we're talking, when we're face to face, and then going behind your back and talking shit about your children, your man, or whatever. I don't get that, y'all. I just don't get it. Now, of course, Sheree is gone, and Sheree played her hand wrong. She should have thought out this when she was asked to come back. And I believe that Sheree thought that if she carried those bones, that it was keeping the show spicy and it would ensure her spot on the show, but it didn't. It had the opposite effect. And I really don't even know what she thought, forging an alliance with Kim was going to do, because so many people couldn't stand Kim. Y'all, Kim, my feelings towards Kim, I never really took her seriously, so I didn't develop a hate or a like for her, because from the very, very first show, I never took her seriously. She was like a white woman that they had dropped in the midst of some black women. So the shit that was going on with her, when she was really a member of the cast, I would turn away and do things during her scenes. The only time that I really, really paid attention to her was during the whole thing with her and Candy in the song, because I felt that Kim was 100% wrong. If Candy, cleaned that song up for her and made it sound right, and Kim started to make money off of it, then she should have given Candy her rightful portion of that money. Other than that, y'all, honestly, I never really took her serious. The big boobs, the wigs, the constant Botox, the this, the that. I just never really took an interest in her storyline, and I just thought she was fake from the head to the toe. And then as far as Portia, I don't understand. Even though I like Portia, I don't understand how she survived the stuff with her and Phaedra. You know, I don't, not that I wanted to see Portia leave, because I believe Portia is funny. She is unintentionally funny because things pop out of her mouth that are just off the wall, and it catches us off guard, and we say, God, did that girl think about what she just said? And we laugh, and we say, okay, Portia's young, and you know she's can sometimes be a little airheaded, but it was funny. But then last season, when all the stuff happened with Phaedra, I was like, okay, well, if they felt that what Phaedra did was so wrong, and Portia was a part of that, why didn't they get rid of both of them? I just never understood that, y'all. And maybe because I wasn't reading too deeply into any of these women, because the last couple of seasons for me, with all the bickering and fighting and just getting together, having a few drinks, and then all hell breaking loose, the shine of the show for me has been lost. I liked it better when, remember in the beginning when it very first came on, and they would do a scene with each one of the housewives, and they would be interacting with their significant other and their kids, and they would be showing them doing things at their homes and all of that, and then they would cut to the next couple, and it would show them same thing going on, things happening in their lives, them throwing lavish parties at their home and things like that. But I don't like it when they cut to them with their significant other, and then they bring the mess, the arguing, the bickering and the bitchiness that's going on with the women home, and discuss it with their significant other. Show us Candy and I forgot what her damn husband's name is, y'all, doing something other than talking about the shit that's going on with the other women. Now, I know they show her at the candy factory, and I know they show Don Juan and them, but I think that if they show more family thing with Riley and the baby, I mean true family stuff. Them just waking up in the morning, having breakfast and talking, and then, just organic family time. And then the same with Nene and Greg and what's going on with their youngest son. If the show hadn't brought drama, then the children of the ladies on the show, they wouldn't be embarrassed or seem camera shy when the camera's on them, because they have to go back to school after these scenes play out and deal with young people. So that's why now it's not good to have them on. But if they were just doing normal family things, even if it was just mundane, that's what life is. You're home with your family. Her youngest son, just say he played a sport, and we saw Nene go to school and watch him play a game, and then they go somewhere and have something to eat and laugh and talk, and then they go home, and her and Greg are planning out, their itinerary, just fun stuff. I'm tired of them just concentrating on bickering, fighting, and talking about each other. These are my people. I don't care so much about what's going on the other housewife shows. I care more about what happens in Atlanta, because those women look like me. And I know that while a lot of people find the show entertaining, and it's it is the most highly grossing of all the Housewives franchises, I believe that a lot of the reason why everyone watches it is because it's also one of the messiest, and people like confusion. And also, they're looking at us. You know how they say they're not laughing with us, they're laughing at us. It's almost, it's almost like I feel like they're looking at the show and they say, see, I told you, black women, they get together and they trying to beat each other up and this and that. And it's almost like they're looking at it as though it's a train wreck. I just hope that in upcoming seasons, they can add some people to the show that maybe take it back to the way that it was in the beginning. Because y'all, honestly, when they very first started, I actually really enjoyed turning to them. I would settle in on the night that they would come in because it was interesting getting to know each one of the women, their spouses, and seeing their young children and what was going on in their lives. But now, honestly, y'all, it's gotten to the point that I don't want to tune in and watch them decimate each other. I don't dislike any of the women. And I guess that's why I don't like this constant bashing of each other. You almost, at the end of each episode, well, for me, I almost say, well, do y'all ever get along? Do y'all ever, other than maybe, you got drunk when you went on a trip and you accidentally have fun? Do you ever get together without just talking shit about each other and, talking behind each other's backs? Y'all, that happens in real life, but not all the time. You have groups of women friends who thoroughly enjoy each other's company, get together and go on trips and have a wonderful time. If this is the way that a group of women act when they are calling themselves friends, I guess this is why I don't hang around a whole bunch of women. I might have a good friend here or a good friend there, but this thing where you get together and you talk about each other. I remember when I was in my 30s and I worked at a job, and at this one job, and one of the girls at the job who was in my age bracket, she decided to throw a cookout at her house. And she invited several couples, several of her co-workers, and we all were couples. So something happened that weekend that I couldn't go. Maybe I couldn't get a babysitter. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to have to chalk this one up because I can't make it. I don't have a babysitter. Y'all, when I got back to work Monday, you know how you're like, oh, how was the little get together Saturday? I'm so sorry that I couldn't make it. From the moment I sat down at my desk, they were talking about each other's husbands, and this one got over there and had a little bit too much to drink, and do you know her kids were bad? I would have beat their ass, and this one's kids was ugly, and that and this and that, and how this one didn't bring anything, and this po bitch. And I was thinking, oh my God, I am so glad that I did not go, because I thought we were all friends. And each person that I had encountered that went to that cookout, they were talking about the other ones. Like, just say I got with friend A, she was talking about friend B, C, D, and E's husband and kids. Then I went later on and saw friend B, and she was talking shit about A, C, D, E, and F. It was a mess. But what that taught me is, you know what? I'm not about to be a part of this. I'm not going to take my family, to these events and then have them talking about my family and, negatively. And the thing was, we were all just young couples finding our way. None of us were perfect. We had bad kids, husbands may not have been right, but we use the opportunity of getting together to bash each other and stuff. Well, that's what they did. I didn't want a part of it, you know? And even when each one of them was talking about the other one, I sat there neutral. I didn't tell B what A said about her. I didn't tell C what B said about her. I just sat there and was like, y'all something else. Before we had this whole cookout, we was all laughing and joking, and as women, we were, going to happy hour after work, supporting each other when we would come to work and say, this is going on in my life. But what I realized is shit got real messy, y'all, real messy. And after that, I was friends with them at work, but all that bringing them into my personal life, I was not having it, I don't know, y'all. So Sheree is gone. This video went on too long, child. But I wanted to know what y'all thought of it. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people said good riddance to both Sheree and Kim. Now, Kim wasn't actually an official housewife. She was just showing up on some episodes, so she didn't get fired. She just has not been asked to come back and film in, in the 11th season. Kim has her own show, so it's Sheree that's been fired. Like I said, Sheree didn't play her hand right, because I would have came back. If I was asked to come back, I would have found some shit that was interesting and stayed out all the mess. Because if she didn't learn anything from them firing Phaedra, was don't create mess, because it will get your ass fired. Those ladies will align, and they will campaign for you to be given the fucking boot, y'all. I don't know, but let me know what y'all think about it. Thanks if you stuck with me through this long video. Thanks for sticking with me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye now.